Hello everybody and welcome to App Talk. Completely different than TED Talk because this is my submission for the Marriage and Family Therapy Program. Hello, my name is Adriana Rodriguez. Today I will be your speaker and I wanted to go ahead and speak a little bit about my interest in becoming a mental health professional. If I didn't mention it before, I am an applicant for the year of 2022, so I wanted to go ahead and welcome you and introduce our live studio audience. Some of my passion in becoming a mental health professional comes from the ability and wanting to be able to help and educate others. And I know we're already laughing, it sounds so cliche, but it really is a passion of mine. I really want to be able to change the perception and the misrepresentation as well as the misuse of different mental health words, or more importantly vocabulary, as well as the way it is represented in different things such as in media, from books, music, to even TV shows. I have to admit, one of my guilty pleasures is reality TV. I love to curl up with my blanket and my hot Cheetos and watch some Keeping Up with the Kardashians. But let's talk about Keeping Up with the Kardashians for a second. There is a lot of misrepresentation in terms of mental health. For example, misusing the word anxiety when you simply mean that you were feeling a bit anxious. That comes with a lot of negative connotations because it is more acceptable to use that word very liberally and with not so much weight behind it, when in reality it does not represent what anxiety really is. There's a series that Khloe Kardashian did that was called, I believe it was on her app. It was called KLOCD, which was a merger of her name as well as the acronym for obsessive compulsive disorder, and that can be very damaging. Why? Because in that series, what she did was simply take us around her household and show us the different ways in which she would organize her house, from her pantry to the way she would display her Oreos in a clear jar or a clear vase. Actually, a clear container. And that can be very damaging. As somebody who personally struggles with OCD, that made it seem like my experience was something to be very brushed off. From people on TikTok, people on Instagram, people in real life simply saying, oh, it's because I'm OCD. Oh, it's because I have OCD. When in reality, what they mean is that they like to be organized and they like to plan. Completely different than a constant battle of trying to, one, hide your actual diagnosis of having OCD, and two, trying to hide the compulsions that come because of those obsessive thoughts. So I really want to be able to change that notion and change the easy use of those words to something where it actually represents what it means. I also want to be able to use different platforms that I assume we are all familiar with, such as TikTok, as I did mention before, TikTok, Instagram, even YouTube videos. On TikTok, what I really appreciate is that there is a change that is happening in terms of being able to represent mental health as something more acceptable to speak about. There are creators who go ahead and show and give us the privilege of being able to share their experience with them, share the anxiousness they feel through, or even the fear they feel when receiving a diagnosis, receiving medication, or even seeking therapy. So I really want to be able to use that in a positive way in order to be able to educate, as I did mention before, which is a passion of mine. I also want to be able to have these open conversations because there are a lot of topics that are seen as things to be silent about, and things that people would prefer others to be silent about, as well as others that are seen as something normal, for example, or as part of being the norm. I want to be able to use things that we are all a little bit more familiar with. For example, let's take something as big as Marvel. Everybody knows Captain America, the Winter Soldier. Everybody knows Iron Man. Let's take, for example, the character of Wanda Maximoff. We can go ahead and see that this character has gone through so much grief, so much pain, so much trauma, from losing her parents, her brother, her partner, and through all this, it is presented in a way where she thinks that she has to go through it all alone, and she doesn't seek outside support, and doesn't seem and believes that she has to go through it all alone, which is something that occurs in many instances. Individuals believe that you have to go through it completely alone, and in the case of Wanda Maximoff, it even becomes to a point where you can even say that she becomes a villain. And all of that pain that occurred in her life as well, not being comfortable enough to seek out support and even become something that she doesn't even fully understand because of all of those emotions. Something else that we all know and love, Harry Potter. Harry has gone through so much pain, from losing his parents, from losing his godfather, to losing the one person he thought he could trust. And he believes once again that he has to go through all of this alone. And this continues to be something that occurs, that you think you have to go through it alone, and you are not alone. So in order to open up this conversation, let's take Harry Potter, as we were talking about, Ron and Hermione. That is a great support system that he has in terms of friendship. And he believes that he has to go through it alone until he is told otherwise. So let's open that conversation that you do not have to go through this alone. And that's what I want to be for somebody else. I want to be in this profession to be able to be that support for somebody else, and to display all of these resources that are available to everybody. I'm so interested in this program. Not only is SDSU honestly my dream school, and always has been, and I'm very privileged and honored to have completed my undergraduate education there. And this program has very good priorities. For example, the importance on diversity. I personally always loved law, and it's a career that I didn't pursue, but I love that even that is included in this program. We're able to learn more about the importance of confidentiality within this profession, as well as the things that you go through really impact on who you become later on in life. This program overall really has always intrigued me, always has been my number one, and I am really grateful to given the opportunity to apply for it. I also wanted to talk a little bit about what my contribution would be to this program. Not only am I bilingual, but I can honestly say that I have been the individual who seeks help. Able to have put myself on both ends. The person who wants to help and the person who wants to receive help. It can be very overwhelming and fear-based to even seek help or look up those resources, because of fear of what others might think, because of what you might think of yourself, or even society, from labeling you as crazy or labeling you as weak. It could be something that is completely not easy. So I think what I bring to this program and to becoming a mental health professional in itself is the ability to relate a little bit more. I also spoke a lot about being able to have a very diverse group of mental health professionals, and I think that's very important, because a lot of the times things as simple as speaking the own language, the same language, goes so much farther. There are sayings, for example, that if you don't speak the same language, they can get lost in translation, as well as taken literally instead of the way they were meant to. You can feel a lot more comfortable speaking in your first language instead of struggling in your second language if you're not as comfortable. So your cultural background, there's a lot of differences. For example, something that is completely normal in my culture might not be in yours, and there could be miscommunication there. So I think that the ability to be bilingual and the ability to have those experiences is something that I really contribute to this program, as well as would contribute to becoming a mental health professional. I really want to thank everybody for being here today. Thank you for taking my application into consideration, and thank you for watching my video. Thank you.